So how are you going?
I'm sorry, what? Sorry.
How are you going? Thank you so much for joining us.
Good, good. No, thank you for, for just being here. It's 11:32 of yesterday for you. It's 11:32 in the morning, so I'm just like happy to be here. Thank you for being up in the future. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Well, I wanted to start off by saying congratulations on the film. I've had a chance to sit down and watch it, and it's a beautiful and amazing film, so congratulations.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time.
No worries. Now, when we spoke to Jesse, he talked about the fact that with you, you're one of the hardest people to cast in the film just because he said it was such a difficult role for anyone to play, and he said he wanted to find the perfect person to play the part. So now I have to ask you, what was your response when you first sat down and read the script and read the role of Lupe?
Hmm. I've said this time and time and again. I was flabbergasted that this role could exist for someone like me. This character is just really special. It taps into a lot of different, character traits that I've always wanted to portray, but also action-wise, never in a million years did I think I would ever be able to do an action film. So I was super excited. I love the themes of family, of community, but I also loved how badass she was. So I really hope that I was able to bring that to film.
Was action a genre that you had wanted to do? Like, it sounds there like you wanted to do it, but was never sure if you'd get the opportunity. Was it a genre that you really wanted to tackle?
I grew up watching a lot of comedy and action films with my father, so I just thought comedy was going to be the route. And I never thought I would be able to be an action star or do these types of films. And after The Stolen Valley, it's like kind of changed the way I look at film. It's changed the way I looked at my career, and it's now something that I'm actively pursuing. After this film, I've just kind of been training, trying to learn new skills. I am learning a couple of different languages, and now I'm taking Taekwondo because, like, I'm ready now. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
after this experience, I want to do as much as I can, and as women, we don't get these types of chances. So I want to take it, ride the wave, and hopefully there'll be more to come, not just for myself but for others.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the positives from The Stolen Valley as well, is that having two strong female leads, it's such a good thing to see in a Hollywood film. You said that you now want to try more action. So as an actress, where do you go next? Like, we hear a lot of people come on this show and they talk about the fact that they want to do another drama or another comedy. We don't hear very many people say they want to do another action film. So where do you go now as an actress to try and make that reality?
Right. A lot of what I've been told, and also what I'm trying to actively do, is, like I said, I did sign up for Taekwondo. I'm taking classes also to know how to do stunts and whatnot. I know it's not recommended to do your own stunts, but on this film, I was able to do not all of them, but some. And so I'm just actively trying to train myself. I told my team that that's something that I want to pursue, and they said, well, we need the footage. Like, guys, The Stolen Valley is coming out. Let me give you the footage. And so it's one of those, like, just kind of fingers crossed, you're putting that little prayer out into the world. I've been very blessed to do a lot of great projects, and a lot of them have been drama, some comedy. I think there's some really awesome films and TV shows where you can marry both the action and the comedy. So I'm just excited to what's to come. I can't really give you a definitive, like, answer after the strike. So that was a whole other thing.
Yeah. So Ali admitted when I interviewed her that she was actually scared when she first read the script in different parts about having to do different things like handle guns and things like that. What was your thoughts when you read the script and saw that you were going to have to be on a motorbike, was going to have to do handle guns as well, do fight sequences? What were your thoughts?
I was excited for everything except the motorcycle. I was told, or I think I misinterpreted, that I was gonna be on a horse, and I've been on a horse before, so that was like, I got it. And then I read the script and I saw that I was on a motorcycle. So long story short, my father has ridden motorcycles all his life, so I asked him to teach me. I ended up in the hospital on my first try.
Oh no!
I crashed. Yeah, I had to pay him that. So I remember calling the production team and being like, "Yeah, guys, am I gonna have a stunt double? Do I need to learn?" And the team very graciously gave me a contact, someone that's worked in stunts before, a big person, big name here in Hollywood. And so I was able to go with my father and learn how to ride on 3 different bikes. To my father's credit, though, he did teach me on a 3000 VTX bike, Honda. So it's like almost 300 pounds. So I get it. I'm like, I should have gone to a professional for this. But I've said this before, not the ending up in the hospital, but the actual crashing of the motorcycle kind of clicked something in me. I thought of Lupe as this, yes, strong woman, but, sometimes a little naive, a little bit demure. But after crashing that motorcycle, I'm like, Jesus, this girl's been on bikes her whole life. She's a mechanic by trade. There isn't anything sweet and naive about this woman. She's willing to go get it. She's willing to put herself out there and get, what she needs for her, family and for her community. So I think, I'm not saying that it needed to happen, but it definitely taught me a different aspect of Lupe that I would have never gotten had I never tried. Yeah. So I'm really grateful to the team that I was able to do certain stunts.
I was going to ask that. What was it like getting in touch with her as a character to bring her to the screen? Because there's so many different elements, not only to Lupe, but also to the film as well. There's action, there's family, there's so many beautiful stories in this as well. What was that like, getting in touch with her as a character and bringing her to the screen?
It was a beautiful experience. I think Lupe and I have a lot in common, so that part was really easy, when coming into terms with our culture, our family. A lot of Lupe's costume was from my own family. The sweater was my father, the little necklace is my mother, even my belt is from my uncle in Mexico. So there was a lot of parts that were with me at always. As an actor, I do have my method. I create playlists for my characters. There was a lot of music behind Lupe. There was a lot of like walking like Lupe, going out. We were in Utah and, thinking to myself, what does Lupe think of these beautiful terrains? What does the land reflect to myself? And there is something very beautiful about, I'm also indigenous and how we connect to the land. So there was a lot of bringing those elements into Lupe. So it was a beautiful experience, very musical, a lot of love, and also just like always being willing and open to an adventure, both for Lupe's character and as Briza, the actor, because I'm like, okay, I'm going to be on a motorcycle today. Get it together, girl. But all of that to say it was a great experience.
I wanted to ask about that side of the film as well, because of course here in Australia over the last 10, 15 years, we've seen such a great amount of Indigenous actors and actresses and directors finally being given a voice in the Australian film industry. What was that like for you to be able to play a role like Lupe and be able to do the same thing and expose maybe people right around the world to your people and show them something that perhaps they've never seen before on screen?
Oh my God. Well, I don't know why this made me emotional. It's a big deal. It's a big deal, Dave, because just personally, my indigeneity is something that I kind of shied away from because, there's a lot of racism, not just in the United States, but also in my motherland of Mexico. There's a lot of miseducation about our own communities. So to really tap into a character that thoroughly explores her culture and doesn't shy away from it was something truly magical and life-changing. And, we started filming back in 2020. Reservation Dogs didn't exist. Wakanda Forever hadn't come out. And so now with this more beautiful, diverse stories that are coming out around the world, I think people are waking up to a whole new way of storytelling, a whole new diverse amount of stories. And I worked as one of the producers for the Hollywood Climate Summit, and I've learned a lot about how, if I get these stats wrong, I hope I'm going to just say it doesn't matter, but more than 80% of the biodiversity is protected by less than 10% of the population. And that very small population is the indigenous people scattered around the world. So there's a lot of nuances behind a lot of our characters, because there is something to be said about the land that we're on. You know, I told Jesse this. I'm like, I know this is a Western and an action film, but it's also a call to action to protect our lands and to learn where we come from. So, again, this is just a summation of like going forward, being proud of where you come from, and also allowing folks to reconnect to their history, to where they come from. I always tell people, you know, if you've been told you have some indigeneity in your past, look for it, learn about it, learn about the land that you're on, even if you're not, learn about where you stand, especially here in the United States.
Definitely. That's a journey I'm on at the moment, because I only discovered a few years ago that I'm actually part Romney Gypsy, which, originates in India, but then ended up in Europe. And of course, I've been exploring that because it was something that my grandmother never talked about. And we only found out, unfortunately, after she passed away. So it is such an amazing journey to be on when you find out information like that and then sit down and start to research it.
Absolutely. You know, all my life, there's been some practices in foods, and we've talked about, I'm Kashkan from Zacatecas, Mexico, and I was aware of where I come from. I was aware of the land that we were raised. But then the more I looked into it, there's books, there's history, and come to find out we were the last tribe to be colonized in Mexico. We were a very violent people. That explains the ADHD, I think, right? But these are things that I'm like, I tell people this, we have to go out of our way to learn. It's unfortunate that this wasn't taught to us. It's unfortunate that it's been taken from us. But this is our way. I feel, in my opinion, reclaiming our indigenous roots is us going out of our way to learn, reclaim our knowledge, and I think it's beautiful. I wish you well on that journey, because it's beautiful to learn that there's a whole other rainbow of culture that we haven't even looked into yet.
Definitely. And so do you feel that this film plays an important part in educating people as well? Because, like I said, watching this film, I learnt a lot through watching it, and I was wondering, do you think this film will educate other people around the world as well?
I hope so. You know, I think Jesse was super brave to, you know, bring these themes about. I think people will learn a lot about not just the Latino, you know, perspective, but also the indigenous perspective. You know, we have these group of individuals, these communities that exist in the United States, and I don't think I mean, now we have Flowers of the Moon, which I'm so proud of and I'm so excited, but outside of maybe these two movies, there's not really a lot of Westerns that positively portrays indigenous or Latino people.
Yep.
Doesn't necessarily showcase us. Oh, that's my dog. Sorry.
It's all right.
Come here, you're fine, baby. I was going to say, there's not a lot of like this type of storyline. And so I really hope that watching this movie, it inspires, again, folks to look into the history, to really learn that it wasn't just this wild, wild west that people talk about. There's a lot more history behind it.
Definitely. Now, Briza, I wanted to talk to you about one scene in this film that I absolutely loved. And I think this scene almost sums up how many different genres this film has. The scene at Taco Tuesdays, because that scene to me was such an important scene, because it did feature comedy, but at the same time it was such an intense scene with those guys, first of all at the door and then in the audience. But that scene must have been something great for you, because of course you came from a dancing and comedy background. So what was that scene like for you to film, being able to call upon your past experience with comedy and dance and bring it into a movie like this, but with suspension hanging there all the time as well?
That was like that day was, I think, one of the funnest days. Because I had fun throughout the whole film. You're right. It felt like coming home, to be honest with you. I was a part of improv troops, and I do a lot of improv training, so it was great to go back into physical comedy. I trained in folklorico when I was younger, Mexican dance. So again, I'm really happy that Jesse was super collaborative, because I wanted to showcase how strikingly different folklorico is from flamenco, right, which is Spanish. And so it was just, again, a dream freaking come true to be able to do some jokes here, kind of be like, ooh, let me try it this way. Allie's super great to work with, and she was always so open to trying new things. And it was a great day. I had to learn that choreography the day before, and then when I got there, I thought my stunt double was going to do the flamenco, but then she saw me dance, and she was like, no, you're going to learn this today. And I'm like, oh my God. But it was a very long day, but it was muscle memory. It was a lot of passion, and it was just, I surprised myself. So it's one of those, like, yes, I want to do more action, but it also, I really hope people watch this. I really hope I can get something out of this where I can work in that realm again, because it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Definitely. Well, Briza, to finish off, because I know we're right out of time, what would you like to say to people out there who are about to sit down and watch The Stolen Valley for the first time?
First of all, thank you for watching. That's what I want to say. And second, give it a try, because this might be the very first time you might see yourself or your community represented in a way that's never been done before. You get action, you get comedy, you get family, you get love, and you get an adventure of a lifetime. Westerns aren't always like this, but this one's very special. So please go watch in any shape, way, or form, and give us a good review if you can.